Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 pitch competition of the Pivot program. My name is Aaliyah Graves Brown. I am the Assistant Director of Program Management at the Pivot program, and I am very excited to be here with you all today. I will pass it over to my co-host here, Joshua Miller.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh Miller. I'm the Managing Director of the Pivot program. This is an incredibly exciting event for us every year, and this is our third try at this. For the past 3 years, the Pivot program has been offering entrepreneurship and business leadership training to returning citizens. And at the culmination of every year, we have a competition like this, where you get to see the efforts and the education sort of come to fruition. What you're going to see next is really extraordinary. We're all obviously biased in favor of the fellows, but we honestly do think they do extraordinary work, and you're about to see it. So I just want to give you a little logistics here. You will be able to chat with the hosts, that's us, or share messages of support or questions in the chat box. Please do that, whenever you see something really extraordinary. Aaliyah?
Thank you for that, Josh. So to kick us off here, it is my pleasure to introduce Chandra Adams, who will share a little bit about her experience. Chandra is an alum of the Pivot Class of 2020 and also our 2020 pitch competition winner. Chandra? I think actually Chandra may be having some technical difficulties here, so we will pivot in real time and be sure to come back to her when she's able to join us. Instead, it is my pleasure to introduce Dean Paul Almeida, Dean of our Business School.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah. And I love the pivots. You did such a great job. So firstly, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. It's really wonderful whenever I see all the faces pop up, so many members of our Georgetown family. Actually, some faces I won't name who I taught 20 years ago. So many of you I work with in so many different ways. So thank you for being here at an event that's really important to us. We have faculty beginning with Pietro Rivoli and her team. We have staff, we have alumni, members of our board of advisors, our parents advisory council, and of course, our partners in the DC government and business community. Welcome all. And a special thank you to friends joining late on a Friday evening or night from Europe and the Middle East. Thank you for being here as well. The fact that we're gathered here today is a reminder of the strength and the breadth of our community. But even more, it's a reminder that we truly believe in the Jesuit value of working together powerfully to serve the common good. And our presence is evidence once again that we value the Pivot program, and we greatly appreciate the ambition and perseverance and entrepreneurial drive of our Pivot Fellows. So along with the Pivot faculty and staff, you, our Pivot Fellows, have not only adapted, but thrived in a strange new world. We could never have imagined that we'd be dealing with a third class of Pivot Fellows that would be entirely online. And you'd have to discuss these ideas today over Zoom. But you worked it out. You've shown flexibility, you've shown good cheer and positivity, even in challenging times. And that's why you're so special. It's an honor for our school, the McDonough School of Business, our community, to work with you to achieve your dreams. know how excited we all are to hear about your business ideas. And I'm very happy that we'll have an in-person graduation next week as well. So even though I don't know who'll walk away with the top prize, I know we're all, you, our fellows, and everyone else is going to gain from this experience. So thank you for doing this for us as well. So it's now my pleasure to hand the program off to Alyssa Lovegrove.
Thank you, Dean Almeida. Thanks very much. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Alyssa Lovegrove. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship in the business school, and I'm also the academic director of the Pivot program. So just for those of you who may be a little less familiar, the Pivot program is a business and entrepreneurship-oriented reentry program, and our goal is to help the fellows pursue meaningful career opportunities, whether that is in an organization of their own or another company. We want them to be able to fulfill their ambitions. This particular event is the culmination of our entrepreneurship curriculum. And so regardless of whether the fellow intends to launch a venture after Pivot or not, all of the fellows participate in the development of a venture idea. So they'll all learn the steps, how to identify a problem or an opportunity, how to propose a solution, how to vet the solution, what it means to deliver value to a customer, what are the sort of assumptions you have to make, and what do you have to do to make sure the venture succeeds and grows. So everyone has gone through that process. We're a big believer in the personal development that comes from that, the problem solving skills, the project management skills. And I think for the fellows as well, they will say that it's been a very rewarding experience. I'm very excited for you to see these pitches. I have seen them. I think they're very good. I am biased. Just real quick on the logistics. You will be hearing 6 recorded pitches, each of them followed by 2 or 3 questions from our judging panel. We have with us today 10 judges. All of them are friends and supporters of the program. Many are Georgetown faculty or alumni. And what they'll be looking at as they listen to the pitches is a combination of 2 things. The first is the quality of the idea. Does it sound like an attractive opportunity? Some of them will be business opportunities. Some will be nonprofits, but they all have to be viable. The judges will also be looking at the quality of the presentation. Did they communicate it well? Was it comprehensive? Was it persuasive? And then they'll give an overall assessment. And that is what we will use to award the prizes. Audience members, you will not be able to ask questions, but please feel free to use the chat function that Josh mentioned earlier to provide feedback or suggestions, or simply to cheer them on. So for example, if you know something about the industry that they're speaking to, or you have some advice, feel free to put that in the chat. We'll make sure the fellows receive that information. You can even post your email address or LinkedIn if you want to connect with one of the fellows. So that's really it for the logistics. I guess, fellows, if you are ready to go, it is my pleasure now to introduce our first presentation. This is Forgotten Voices from Charles Hopkins.
Nobody saw me walking, and nobody heard me talking. Seems like I gotta do wrong, gotta do wrong, gotta do wrong before they notice me.
Forgotten Voices is a business that helps incarcerated and formerly incarcerated individuals tell their stories. We do this by using video in order to highlight their value to society. In America alone, there are over 2.1 million people incarcerated that have stories that need to be told. Mine is one, hers is another. Because these stories are not being told, the circumstances resulting in their imprisonment, establishing their innocence, highlighting their overall worth to society, and the cause of imprisonment are also not being told. Because of this, nonprofits and advocacy groups that work in this space are having difficulty gaining support for the change they want to see. Learning that 2.1 million people are in prison does not have the same impact as hearing and seeing these stories. Our method allows stories to be seen and heard. Similar stories were used to change these laws. The Second Chance Act, Justice Restoration, and Vera with the restoration of the Pell Grant. Forgotten Voices' solution is to create marketing material for nonprofits that will focus on these stories so that policymakers and potential grant donors can strengthen their support for prison reform. Storytelling will mainly be done in the form of Zoom video recordings because hearing and seeing people tell their stories in their own words is the most effective way to persuade others to act. Currently, there are few direct competitors in the business of marketing incarcerated, informing incarcerated individual story. In essence, the market is wide open. The merit of this idea were validated through the interviews conducted and the questionnaires I sent out, some of which are represented here. Research shows customer potential is varied. Stakeholders such as colleges, advocacy groups, intervention services, courts, parole and probation agencies, prisoners, and families of prisoners are all potential users. The marketing potential for Forgotten Voices will be to utilize social media in the following forms: websites, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. This strategy will make people aware of me and my product and how to gain access to the services offered by Forgotten Voices. Forgotten Voices will produce a library of Zoom video recordings with a menu of various stories which are edited for all potential customers. We will also do custom recordings to meet our clients' specific needs. Costs per video are based on a standard package. For example, individuals, colleges, universities, nonprofits, and government agencies may all fall into separate categories. You can see from this chart that our total expenses are approximately $72,000, while our total revenue is a little more than $300,000, leaving us with a net profit of almost $238,000. Because Forgotten Voices is an online business, our total revenue far exceeds our total expenses. Based on initial feedback from individuals at Johns Hopkins University, University of Maryland, and Howard University, plus the lack of competition and our cost versus revenue analysis, we conclude this idea has great growth potential as well as great social value. In addition, there is an undeniable need for a service such as this. Therefore, I request that you seriously consider sponsoring this worthy business proposal through your financial donation and assistance. My next step will be to develop simple sample stories that can be used as proof of concept. My team, consisting of 2.1 million people and myself, will use the revenue to enhance the quality of their lives. Your support for this project will mend prisoners' families, change laws, and reform prisons. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Charles. So judges, have we got some questions for Charles?
Thank you, Charles. A very compelling presentation. Thank you for pulling that together. In terms of the subjects, do you expect that they would be both incarcerated and post-incarcerated? And maybe you could talk a little bit about how you would actually go about identifying the best stories to connect with the particular customers that you've identified.
Yes, sir. Thank you. They will be both formerly incarcerated and formerly incarcerated. And I just came out that space. I'm removed from prison 16 months. So I just came out that space. So my way of identifying the people that would be utilized is I would identify what their interests are. Like laws have been changed in the state of Maryland. Right now you had a law change dealing with the juvenile lifers. So those laws have been changed. I would identify those people that have been locked up for 25 years that need to tell their stories in order to gain support for their release. In terms of my approach to the formerly incarcerated, it's a lot of people that's out right now that I'm networking with that will give me access to their stories to enhance their ability to market themselves and some of the things they're trying to do. I hope I answered your question.
You did there. Very good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Charles. Congratulations. That was a fantastic pitch. Really appreciate it. How do you work with the prison system? What kind of permission do you have to get from the prisons themselves? How would all of that work? I mean, is there a lot of logistics? Is there a lot of legality that you will need to access in terms of accessing the stories of the incarcerated people that you want to share their stories?
I'm glad you asked that question because that was a concern of mine, but because of the social justice movement that's taking shape, everybody trying to find their niche in that space. So CSOSA, for example, I was talking to the director of community service, and he was talking about how could he get the stories of people that's doing remarkable things, how could get them stories done. Then the Federal Bureau of Prisons has actually put out a link saying that they want former prisoners that was incarcerated in the Federal Bureau of Prisons to come back in and speak to the prisoners about how they benefited from the program. So this would allow me to be able to say, okay, I can get in that space and be able to identify that. And then in the Maryland system, which I'm from, as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of activities going on right now that's allowing us to have access to that space. So I don't perceive having no particular problem getting access or gaining access to prisoners nationwide.
Fantastic. And last question is, do you have we'll have to have the person who's sharing their story do a release, all the legalities of, then what happens with their story, how you can share it, if it's getting made into a motion picture, someone wants to option their rights, all of those logistics I think are important for you to consider as you're moving forward.
And I agree with you because when I was talking to one of my mentors, they was telling me about some people have prohibitions on being able to tell their information by the court. So we would identify what you just had to say. We would make them aware of those things and see where their interest lies at. If they don't want to, might be limited, say, well, I'll tell my story, but I want exclusive rights over the contents. We'll work that out with them.
Okay, great, fantastic, thank you.
Thank you for a very good presentation, very inspiring. One question I had was looking at your financials. You have revenues of $310,000. What is your business model? How do you generate the revenues? And are you able to maybe monetize that content, put it on maybe on Instagram or Facebook and share the story of those forgotten voices?
Yes, sir. As far as the financial, our model is to charge $50 a minute, and that would fluctuate with $50.
Sorry, Charles.
We would charge $50 a minute, and that scale would fluctuate. And we was marketing 5-minute videos, so that's why you see the margin as far as the growth of revenue. And then we had subscription packages, which would be you have a subscription of quarterly subscription and yearly subscription. So the gross net profit would come from a yearly. That's a yearly gross. And in terms of the marketing, that's our plan to utilize social media to market the idea. That's why I was saying that to not oversimplify the idea, but it's a 2.1 million people. Social media equals get their story out. Forgotten voices be voices that's not known or forgotten, and would be able to have contents and give people a sense of understanding of what those 2.5 million people really are. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Charles. With that, I'm proud to introduce Ernest Boykin, who's going to tell us about Surface.
Hello, my name is Ernest Boykin III. And today I want to introduce you all to SURFACE. SURFACE is an acronym for Supporting Underserved Remarkable Families Achieve Cooperative Economics. When the main provider is taken away to prison, innocent families and children are left behind to pick up the financial and physical pieces. I've become an expert on this because my family was forced to pick up the pieces of my punishment from 2014 to 2020. On any given day in the United States, over 9 million people cycle throughout the justice system. They're wrestling for their lives and their freedom. But people forget about the 1 in 28 children who are left behind. If they're lucky, they have grandma and grandpa who can pick up the pieces, aunts and uncles who can take them in and take them out to the baseball game. But usually these broken families have to lean on organizations like Salvation Army, with Angel Tree, Prison Fellowship, and local organizations such as SCIP. But SURFACE was created in order to match donors and mentors with families who need more than just a Thanksgiving box or just Christmas gifts. In addition to my own personal experience, we did some extensive research when we decided to build out this company model. And all of the data that I gathered was really consistent and eye-opening. All of the families, they felt like if they just got a little bit more support and a little bit more help, they would have drastically improved lives. And all of the donors, they said that they wanted to do more, but donating was really difficult. And if they had an opportunity to donate and actually see the people whose lives that they were influencing, they would actually have a better donating experience. So that's why we came up with the SURFACE model. The SURFACE model is better than what already is out there because it's all computerized. It's all going to be all web accessible, phone accessible. It makes it easier for donors to do more. They can donate on the go. Everything with SURFACE begins with the website or the platform. Our staff will interview families to determine what needs these families have. And what we'll do after that is we'll have our videographers record them telling their own personal story. Videos will then be uploaded to the website or platform where the donors can see them on the donor side of the portal. And on the donor side of the portal, they'll be able to see all of the different families which we've interviewed, and they'll be able to actually get a connection to these families and to identify what these families need, whether it's mentoring, whether it's just a ride to practice or a ride to see the parent and things like that. SURFACE will serve as the intermediate between the donor and the family. Now, you're probably wondering how we can get something like this started up, and the investment is really small. We just have to advertise, we have to have a really decent website, and we have to have some quality video and lighting and a laptop to house all of these people's story. Now, we did some calculations, and the calculations that we came up with, we could get this started for as low as $11,770. For under $12,000, we can start this business and start making some change and changing a lot of these families' lives. For $96,240 annually, we can do this and run SURFACE with 1 full-time employee and 2 part-time employees. The SURFACE team right now consists of me and my 4 advisors, which are my children, because they've actually been through losing a primary caregiver to the justice system, where they had to learn how to take care of themselves and go without some things. Then I have 2 volunteers, one which is an IT specialist who's going to help me get the website and the platform together. And the other person is a Comcast sales representative who's going to help with donor relations. Our plan is to hire 2 employees within our first year if we do win this pitch competition. SURFACE already has some traction. We have support of St. Augustine Church in Northwest and St. Teresa of Avila Church in Southeast Washington, D.C. Both of these congregations have been affected by the justice system, and they could definitely help usher families to Surface so that we can make some change and help some people. The website domain name surfacedc.org is also in our possession right now. And after the calculations, we figured out that after we get the cameras and the computer for under $9,000 in expenses, we can maintain the total Surface monthly budget. The return on investment is great. We don't have to lean on the community as much anymore. And families will be happy, and young people will be able to experience better lives and normal lives. Surface, Surface, Surface. Support underserved, remarkable families achieve cooperative economics. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ernest. Okay, judges, have we got some questions for Ernest?
Yes, Ernest, great presentation and excellent idea with clear impact on those who need the services. Could you talk a little bit about how you're going to actually keep the business sustainable? It's very clear how much money you'll need to keep the business, to get the business started and to keep it going through the first year. But how do you anticipate keeping the business sustainable in terms of the revenue you'll draw down?
Well, thank you for your question. Before I answer, I just want to say, good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Dean Almeida. Thank you, judges, and thank you, MSB alum and guests. Thank everybody for coming. The question that you asked, how will I keep the business sustainable? It's a great question. I plan on doing that by hustling, working hard, reaching out to people, getting the word out about this issue. I think a lot of times people spend a lot of time talking about the incarcerated person and people returning back to society, but they forget about the innocent victims in this whole process, which are the families and the children who are affected by this. And I saw a statistic that said 1 in 2 people are affected by incarceration right now. So what I plan to do is just have my sales staff reach out to different donors by phone, by email blast. We want to advertise online on platforms like Instagram, and we are prepared to even advertise on television if need be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ernest. Happy to hear your presentation. It was great. I'm very touched by it, and you did a very, very good job. It was very powerful. I was going to ask a question more or less along the same lines of Patricia, but I got the answer. What I wanted to hear from you is, do you know if you have any other competitors that might be along the same lines as what you're planning to do in your webpage?
Yes, sir. I definitely do, but I don't want to call them competitors because we're in a nonprofit space. These people are actually making a difference. Churches, the Salvation Army with Angel Tree. But the unfortunate part about that is usually you only hear about these organizations around Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's nobody doing the work year round trying to help these families be able to make ends meet, help these kids make it to football practice, help these families have somebody coordinate or sponsor a ride for them to go see mom or dad in prison. We plan to stay involved in the community like we've been. I write for FAM, which is a lobbying organization that fights against mandatory minimums. I'm actually a chairman of the Reentry Action Committee, which specializes in reentry, and I plan to use all of these platforms that I'm maintaining to help usher progress to Surface.
I agree with what you just said. If you focus only on what you're doing instead of sharing with other activities as Salvation Army does, for example, you'll do well. So congratulations again.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, Ernest, this is Jenny Heflin. I just want to commend you on this project and work. I really thought it was fantastic, your pitch, and I love the idea that you're engaging your whole family as supporting this effort and they're part of your team. Along the lines of Patricia's question, I was curious, to what extent you're thinking about segmenting your donor population, whether that's individuals, corporations, other nonprofits you alluded to, or even seeking grants from large foundations as a source of money for this endeavor.
Well, thank you for your question. Yes, I have thought extensively about that. And I would love to be able to capture support from major corporations and donors. And we're definitely going to write some proposals and try to get some money from some of these foundations to have it. But we also don't want to overlook the average person who's fighting traffic on the Beltway every day, who really just wants to do something to help out. They may not have time to, go to a game, or they may not have time to take somebody to see their family member, but they may be able to just, donate over the internet or over the telephone. And we don't want to exclude anything. And when we launch, we're definitely going to be aggressive in targeting everybody, because this situation, over 5 million children have been impacted by the justice system. And like we said in the report, 1 out of 28 children is left behind to just pick up the pieces. So these children really need our help, and there's no stone that we're going to leave unturned.
Great. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you, everyone.
Next up, we're going to hear from Camelia Finley, who's telling us about Fresh Start.
My name is Camelia Finley, and on April 13th, 2020, I was released by the Federal Bureau of Prisons to Union Station. I was homeless, I had no resources, and I had no one to contact. And from that experience up until this point, this is what led me to Fresh Start. The problem I found was that there was not an effective way to bring awareness to resources for returning citizens. 6 out of 10 in my research all said the same thing. The information was outdated, incorrect, not operational. 2/3 of returning citizens will return to prison for technical violations or as repeat offenders. And Washington, D.C. spends over $88,000 per year per person incarcerating those individuals, which is on the high end nationally. The solution is Fresh Start, a web accessible information service for returning citizens. It would allow a returning citizen to create an individualized plan. From that plan, they would get identification support, housing services, employment services, and social services. The business model that I use would target Washington, D.C. for right now, but the goal will be to scale to other states and localities in the future. I would partner with various resources and organizations, and even partner with government agencies as well. There are 2 main categories for returning citizen success: access and personalization. And there are 5 main competitors right now in these fields. You will see that Fresh Start checks off all the boxes. We have direct access through the website. We have direct access through a mobile phone. You can create a profile. There is an individualized plan, and our resources are up to date, where my competitors do not. This is how Fresh Start is set apart from everyone else. In my customer analysis, in my research, I interviewed 7 returning citizens in depth. And from those interviews, there were 4 key findings that was needed for a successful platform. I'm going to show you 2 of these key findings in the Fresh Start website. The first one was accessible. It needed to be accessible on multiple platforms. The second one, it needed to be simple and straightforward to the point. We had to remember the user and where they were in technology. Fresh Start begins with allowing you to get started with your own, creating a profile or signing in from a profile that you've already created. Then you go into housing, which brings us to our 3rd key finding, which is the various levels of support. Individuals come home and some have a ton of support, some have no support. In Fresh Start, you'll see in the housing section, they're able to choose from a multitude of housing to get the stability that they need on this journey. The fourth key finding was discovering their passion, which would even include their career. In Fresh Start, the user has the ability to upload a resume. They have the ability to show the areas of employment they're interested in. They show skills that they may have, and they even have the ability to answer the question what they love to do, but haven't had the opportunity to do it. Fresh Start is simple and to the point. And even if you look in the left-hand corner of the screen, the Fresh Start logo, clicking on that will bring you right back to the beginning of the site if the user ever gets stuck. The financial breakdown for Fresh Start is in two parts: startup costs and annual operating costs. The startup cost will be about $26,000 a year. That would include the design and build, content, legal, the domain name, and the annual operating costs, which would include maintenance and updates, and any administrative costs, which would be about $23,000. Possible funding can come from DOES's grant, a microloan, crowdfunding, or even partnering with certain agencies such as Morca, CSOSA, other agencies like that, or technology companies that are already operational. Here's what I need to make Fresh Start happen: partnership for resources on site, connecting with area colleges and universities to use their interns to collect research and resources. I need to connect with resources such as technology companies to get Fresh Start started. And transparency and communications are obligation, and the $50,000 in funding. I also would need to partner with the government agencies that are already out here for returning citizens. Together, we will change lives. We'll show returning citizens they are human beings and make it possible for them to have a plan that fits their needs directly so that they can walk into success. I would like to thank Georgetown University, all our spectators, possible investors, and supporters for allowing me the opportunity to participate in this pitch. Fresh Start is a clickable prototype. If you would like to see it or know more information about it, you can contact me. My contact information is in the left-hand bottom of this screen. Again, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Camelia. All right, judges, some questions for Camelia.
Absolutely. I'll go first. So first, I want to congratulate you on such an impactful idea, such a clear need for support for returnees at that initial point. So a question for you is, how do you envision ensuring that returnees have awareness of this website and what it is that you're providing? How will you get that information into their hands so they can use the service?
So that is a great question. And that starts with the partnership. I developed a partnership with CSOSA. I developed partnerships with DOES. I developed partnerships with DOC and the Ready Center. And they get the word out. As soon as the returning citizen is released, say, I have this website, go on it, check it out, see what you need, be specific about what you need, and allow the website to give you that individualized plan. I also have the option of presenting the website inside of DOC. I've seen it done numerous times while I was incarcerated myself, going into the centers, letting them know that this is out there. When you're released, you can go to a library. It'll be online at the halfway house. It's accessible to you. So use it and utilize the services for it. So I think that part of it is the simplest part of it. And again, I said at the end of my presentation, this is already a clickable prototype. We just need the technology. It's already created. I didn't have the time to show the prototype, so I'm kind of sad about that. But it is already a prototype, and the technology is what we're waiting on. So it's halfway there. But thank you for the question.
Camilla, I echo Erica's comments on the idea as well as your presentation. Very strong, and you really ended it strong. Had us really hanging on the edge of our seats. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One question about the content. How do you envision post-startup keeping the content relevant, particularly around housing, where things can change very quickly?
Again, it starts with communication. One of the things that I found out in my own journey, I've been home for 14 months. And in 14 months, I have worked through the Pivot program, also working on creating this clickable prototype, all while fighting to figure out where I was going to lay my own head. And one of the biggest things was communication. We are not communicating with one another. You have 10 different organizations in DC, and none of them are communicating with each other to tell the next one what the other one is doing. And so in order for the resources to continue to maintain being updated and to stay on the site, you have to communicate with me. And I don't have a problem with networking. I'll get out there. You tell me you've just opened a transitional home, and I will tell you I have Fresh Start. Let's put the transitional home on Fresh Start, and let's get you some people in there to fill your beds. But the communication is the key in making this work, and transparency.
No,
I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Great presentation. I just wanted to touch a little bit about kind of the investment to date, as well as kind of what you need from a technology and personnel perspective. You highlighted that you were at prototype stage, and you in your financials highlighted that there was going to be some continued investment. Do you anticipate that there is going to be any employees that you're going to bring on that would focus on the technology, or how would you handle that?
So for the continued investment, if I would need one employee, and that would be a professional web developer. And I want a full stack web developer that's going to focus on the front end of the site and the back end of the site. So that's the one employee that I would potentially need. And his paycheck would come from the grant and the funding that I would get. At the end of the prototype, it mentions that we'll have someone reach out to you to see how you're going along with your steps and if you need any more help. So that's where volunteers come in. That's where I connect to individuals like you and everyone else on this screen. Let's take the time out. You take 15 minutes out of your week and contact somebody and just see how they're doing in the process. I am where I am today because people have picked up the phone and said, how are you doing in the process? And none of these people are getting a paycheck. And none of these people have asked for a paycheck. I think 3 of my mentors are sitting on here right now watching this happen. And so I attribute where I am today to these people calling and texting and saying, good job, what else do you need? And so investing in employees, I don't think Fresh Start needs that. There's very easy and simple ways around it. Like I said, with the interns, utilizing interns to get the research, to get the resources, taking the time out to go to colleges and pick up these interns that need hours, that are focusing on social services. Can I use you for a second? I need to gather some resources and some research for what I'm trying to put together. Yeah, we definitely don't have to spend a ton of money on employees. I want to spend money on making sure the information remains updated and making sure that the website is continuing to move forward and even getting the website to the point of an app.
Thank you, Camelia. I want to thank the judges and give you an opportunity to start tabulating your results. And while you're thinking about it, I want to introduce Chandra Adams, who was the winner of this pitch competition last year, and to my great pleasure and pride, a student of mine on the main campus last fall. Here she is.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be back. It's like coming home. The Pivot program was one of the best and most life-changing experiences. I received a crash business school education in 10 months. Alyssa Lovegrove's entrepreneurship class challenged much of what I knew about being an entrepreneur and running a business. Through Pivot, I met influential guest speakers and Georgetown alumni, faculty, and leadership. But the Pivot team, my professors and fellow cohort members are extra special. And although I've graduated, I re-entered the community on my terms. I'm now a part of Georgetown's vast and prestigious network. I turned a seemingly impossible business idea into Lemonade Development, and we provide solutions to help other women just like me. I'm writing my first book with plans to publish it by the end of the year, and I'm so proud to say that my second year at Georgetown begins this fall. I was motivated to complete my degree because of Pivot's curriculum and Georgetown's commitment to changing outdated perceptions of returning citizens. Finally, and most significantly, as the creator of my narrative, Pivot helped me to change my voice, or actually to find my voice and to tell my story. See, I told you this program is life-changing.
Thank you, Chandra. So just to give the judges a little more time, we've got a video that was put together by the current cohort of fellows talking about what this program has meant to them as well.
Opportunity.
Fantastic.
Inspiring. Builders.
Supportive.
Life-changing.
Life-changing.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Pivot has become an experience that I could have never imagined it to be.
It was a very enlightening experience to be surrounded by such a professional, experienced wealth of knowledge.
From the moment you step foot into the Pivot program, it is a no judgment zone. What you have done is not who you are.
Well, it's been wonderful working with the other Pivot Fellows. We are like a family.
I have been able to develop some friendships that I will keep for a lifetime.
They are amazing people and they have inspiring stories.
I think I made lifelong friends.
People going in a similar direction. They're not too far ahead of you. They're not too behind you.
They are very brilliant, driven, ambitious individuals.
The most valuable lesson I learned is the value of teamwork.
Through hard work and dedication, you can truly accomplish anything.
No matter what you've done in the past, you have a chance to make something of yourself.
I'm capable to do whatever I set my mind to.
And I can create and I can be whatever I want to be. Whatever I want to be, I can do. I can be that.
I don't have to allow somebody else to tell my story. I can tell my own story. I can actually change the narrative.
It's never too late to go back to school. It's never too late to want to change your life.
Every day I wake up with new ideas on how to recreate what reentry looks like.
There are resources and things working behind the scenes when you're affiliated with a program like Pivot and Georgetown and all the incredible staff. They know things, they see things from a 10,000-foot view.
I really know what my purpose is moving forward for my career.
Being able to utilize the skills I've learned about the various aspects of how business and nonprofits run behind the scenes is going to be invaluable to the career path that I'm looking to follow.
Pivot has taught me to strategically plan for my future.
My plan is to be a voice for those that don't have a voice.
I'm an entrepreneur, hardcore. you put me somewhere, I'm going to triple my worth in a matter of months.
I will use all my new skills from Pivot to launch my successful business in the near future. I have already claimed it.
For me, I'm going to go from felon to founder of building a new software company.
My future revolves around my obligation to returning citizens.
If I decided that, you know, I wanted to become an entrepreneur, or I wanted to be a student, or I wanted to, you know, just basically help the community, I could do that. I don't have to be condemned to my past actions or mistakes.
Thank you, fellows. I could watch that 100 times. Okay, judges, we're going to hear the next three. I'm happy to introduce now Latasha Moore and Victoria Hunt, who are going to present Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing.
Think diversity in the workforce is only a nice to have idea? Think again. A diverse workforce and inclusive employee culture are core business strengths. Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing is the key, diversifying the workforce to take your company to the next level. The world is evolving rapidly, yet we are not embracing inclusion at the same pace. We're all different, and our differences can generate various points of view and contribute to creativity and innovation. At Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing, we are creating customized solutions with benefits to help deliver change in the workplace for people just like us that needs an opportunity. We realize in the workplace, people felt and looked just like us and need the freedom of choices again. Companies who are in the top quarter for diversity are 35% more likely to surpass competitors. Most importantly, inclusive companies are 120% more likely to hit goals. What is staggering? 75% of returning citizens are unemployed within the first year after being released, and these citizens are a major part of diversity and inclusion. The problem in the workplace is diversified candidates and returning citizens have limited career opportunities because of biases, practices, and protocols, lack of partnerships and support from companies, refusal to change from current hiring practices, and negative perception of hiring formerly incarcerated. At Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing, we focus on creating career opportunities with pathways for diversified candidates in various industries. Most importantly, we are establishing a strong presence in the industry on the value of hiring returning citizens who are a major part of diversity and inclusion.
The solutions to the problems we identified are the following. Solution 1, establish partnerships with D&I top 100 companies and connect with Second Chance Hiring Coalition. Solution 2, provide best hiring practice and customized candidate database for employers. Solution 3, host networking events and provide educational webinars. After doing extensive research on various companies, we realized that Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing is unique by focus on diversity and inclusion, in addition with Second Chance Hiring, customized assessments, and career coaching.
And after having extensive interviews with the research of human resource liaisons of organizations, private industry business owners, job trainers, and just individuals in the looking for jobs that are in the industry, these are key strategies we focused on: assessments and training, developing partnerships, and really establishing a presence with the Second Chance Hiring Plan. Also, most importantly, providing career coaches for our eligible candidates that are looking to be employed.
Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing business model is commission-based. Our 15% commission rate allows us to keep our prices competitive based on industry standards.
And here we are, Next Endeavor Diversity Team. My name is Victoria Hunt. I am the co-founder, and I have over 14 years of business relationship management and executive search experience.
I'm Latasha Moore, co-founder with over 20 years experience in HR, training, and finance.
And now we want to launch this business. Our first stage would be focusing on establish the business entity with a virtual office, technology and software, and most importantly, our business licensing. Stage 2 will focus on a pilot testing where we will build relationship with various organizations to secure job placements and start building our database of candidates and clients. At that point, we should be ready for stage 3 to launch our company in 2022.
Victoria, what's next?
What's next is if you want to take your company to the next level, then you will partner with Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing. What's next, Tasha, with the benefits?
The benefits are bigger talent pool, increased employee engagement and trust, new perspectives and innovation, better decision-making, improved performance, stronger business results and profits.
Well, I guess we can say that we can do better with integrating diversity and inclusion staffing. So meet your new partner, Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, ladies. Judges, have we got some questions for Latasha and Victoria?
Hi, ladies. That was fantastic. I'm Abby. How are you?
Hi, Abby.
Hi, how are you?
Are you breathing deeply and easier now that you're finished?
Absolutely.
Great job. So this is the hottest issue in the world of business today. So this idea is so timely and so necessary. And many companies are hiring chief diversity officers and just kind of like starting this process and not having the access and the background that you do, which I think is going to set you apart. I've never heard of an organization or a program like this. So this is fantastic. My question for you is, how do you see yourselves approaching these companies that you're going to be targeting, and how do you are you going to have sectors like the financial sector, the law sector, the entertainment sector, in terms of looking at your coaching and how you're going to prep your clients, which are basically the returning citizens?
So yes, that's a great question, Abby. And again, thank you for everyone joining us. I'll start off with answering this question, and Latasha will chime in also. For us, we want to start off very simple. As we said in our launch mode, we're going to do a pilot phase. So we're going to start with our low-hanging fruit, which would be organizations that have already identified that they are really wanting to increase the inclusion and diversity with their organizations. And then also companies that are part of the Second Chance Hiring Coalition that have said we want to look to employ returning citizens, because our focus is going to be to partner with organizations that are looking for, especially for returning citizens, to have that staffing, that support system that has the relationships with companies that can partner and put these networks together. So we want to fill that gap. That's our focus, is to fill that gap where these organizations have identified what they need, and we're a part of making sure that these candidates are where they need to be with the assessments and the coaching, and that they would add value to the organizations, and then making people recognize that diversity and inclusion is so important to include your returning citizens. They are very much valuable for that piece.
And do you see yourselves, both of you, as the coaches, or are you looking to hire or have volunteer coaches in terms of, coaching your clients?
Latasha, I'll let you answer that part.
So yes, we do plan to both be coaches in addition to hiring a career coach. The key to our success is actually going to be educating our clients on diversity and inclusion, because what our research has shown that companies have spent millions of dollars into actually hiring consulting companies to actually show them what diversity inclusion looks like. And so that is going to be key to actually educating and developing partnerships.
Great, thank you.
I think, the first step is as Abby said, you are in such a hot space. I can speak from experience that our company is working very diligently to hire in a more diverse workforce. And so I don't think you're going to have as much of a challenge on the customer side, but I am more drilling into kind of how you're going to prep this employee population and really get them ready for the positions that are being made available. In addition to career coaching, what is your view on kind of just more skills adaptation and slotting them in for the opportunities that are in front of them and that you've been contracted for?
So when you started off with the question, the employee population, as we stated, the career pathways, we want it to be very diverse because obviously you never know what organization, what their needs will be. And for us, our goal is to build a solid database. So that is one of the assessments from doing our research is how we're going to work to continue to develop this wide database so that if there are IT positions available or manufacturing positions available, that we would be able to have those different employees available for the organizations. So I would say for us right now, we're just in the beginning stages of building that database, and how we will build the database will be really partnering with organizations that have individuals that are looking for different career paths, not just a job, but a career path. And then we want to put tools in place from an assessment standpoint and coaching standpoint that if there are areas they can be stronger in, or there are areas that we know, hey, you may be wanting to go into this career path, but we have opportunities in another one that would be very valuable for you and the organization. We're going to be the process of shortening that gap between, so there's now diversity candidates that are able to see more opportunities because of our staffing company.
Fantastic. I think that last part will be really important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Kareem, I think we maybe jump in real quick. Do you want to ask a question as well?
I have a comment, just like Abby and Joe mentioned, this is a very timely and hot space. And I think companies need advice and need guidance. We all want to do more diversity inclusion, but we could benefit from guidance. So a firm like Next Endeavor can be retained on an annual retainer to advise the company, can provide training classes, and also maybe help place candidates and make a commission on those. So the business model is phenomenal, where there's an annual retainer, there are training classes, there's placements. So it's very timely. And for example, at our company, we're looking for advisors to go on that journey, both on several journeys: sustainability, environment, diversity. And we made a mission to train 100% of our staff in those 3 areas, essentially. So we're looking for trainers and somebody to guide us on the journey, on a multi-year journey. So very exciting space, and congratulations to Victoria and Latasha on a great idea.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Kareem. And we'll move on now. Our next presenter is Pascal Laporte, and he's going to tell us about TenPen.
Had your heart pulled out? Well, I did. And while trying to forget the pain, I decided to take my motorcycle out just for a simple ride, when all of a sudden, the vehicle in front of me slammed on the brakes. I had to think fast, so I swerved into a ditch, hitting a curb, flipping 15 feet in the air, and finally landing on a little brick wall. When I woke, I was grateful to be alive, but I was left disabled with a broken neck, back, shoulder, wrist, and both my knees. This led me to painkillers, addiction, and eventually prison. It was in prison where I woke up. Hi, my name is Pascal Laporte. I've been called a lot of things: a success, a failure, a felon. But today, I'm here before you as the founder and CEO of TenPen, the premier fair chance marketplace that helps entrepreneurs impacted by the justice system earn legitimate income. For years, like that motorcycle, I weaved in and out of trouble, breaking rules, evading both jail and death, but also evading my legitimate success. It was in prison where I learned firsthand the challenges that many justice-impacted entrepreneurs go through after paying their debt to society and trying to get a sense of self-worth and redemption. It was in prison where I learned from hundreds of entrepreneurs that people, they're not simply addicted to drugs, but many times, just like me, they're addicted to hustling. Whether selling $10 loose cigarettes or making an amazing cheesecake from commissary items, my entrepreneurship needed a platform and an opportunity. Let's take a look at Tony, one of the first members of the TenPen Nation. As a personal trainer with 10 years of experience, he has trained over 2,500 clients. But no matter how talented he is, Tony can't get a job at a local gym. It's because of the background screening process that identifies his criminal history and ultimately denies his employment. While this practice has been illegal since 1964, it still happens every single day. And like many resourceful entrepreneurs, Tony pivoted to the internet and decided to become a virtual trainer. Unfortunately, he still couldn't make enough money to reliably feed his family. As you can imagine, Tony's not alone in the struggle. Currently, over 70 million justice-impacted Americans that need to rejoin the workforce and contribute to the economy have to overcome a mountain of obstacles in order to do so. According to studies by Gallup and Upwork, more than 1/3 of all US workers participate in the freelance gig economy. It's projected that by 2023, more than half of the US workforce will be gig economy workers at some point in their career. And over the next 5 years, this represents a $19 billion fee income opportunity. And that is why we started a movement called TenPen. With our simple 3-minute application, we can connect an entrepreneur to a qualified supporter. Once a job is completed, payment is issued within 24 hours. You're probably thinking, hasn't this already been done by Fiverr and Upwork? Unfortunately for the TenPen Nation, those other guys have gotten too big. And according to their own community boards, everyone is suffering because of the high fees and lack of personal engagement. For Fair Chance supporters, TenPen is a curated digital platform that streamlines the process of finding and managing a motivated talent pool of human beings that have unique insights to the diversity, equity, and inclusion challenges we face in America, all while allowing organizations to innovatively solve many of today's challenges. I'm happy to announce that at the time of this recording, the beta site, which was launched last week, has already grown to 10 entrepreneurs and completed over $150 in transactions on tenpen.sharetribe.com. At scale, we expect to generate over $100,000 of revenue in our first calendar year. Let me show you how simple it is to get started. Once on the platform, you can easily find what you need. You can search categories or go straight to where Tony has listed a service. Now, Fair Chance Charlie, he can find the service, read the description, schedule a time, and pay Tony all through the interface. TenPen collects about $15 for the entire transaction, and Tony gets money in his account. Pretty cool, right? Let me be clear. There's absolutely no way I could do all of this alone. I'm fortunate to be able to leverage my world-class advisory team, which includes experts in the criminal justice reform movement, as well as proven entrepreneurs in technology. With the money from this pitch competition, $6,000 will go towards improving our software user interface and user experience. It's been said that creativity without opportunity breeds criminality. If you're as excited as we are about uncovering a high value yet underserved market opportunity, let's work together so we can help break these cycles of inequity and help our talented entrepreneurs just like Tony. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Pascal. Judges, have we got some questions for Pascal?
Hey, Pascal. First, just want to really commend you on your high quality presentation. I love your story at the beginning, the use of data that you had throughout your entire presentation, and just how clear the presentation was from start to finish. I was curious, you've mentioned the site has already gone live to some extent, but what mechanisms you're using to drive participations both from the entrepreneur side of the house as well as users to the site to use these services.
Hey, Jenny, Ms. Heflin, thank you for asking that question. That's a really good question. Initially, I'm using my warm network. I was incarcerated a few years ago, and I wanted to start off with a small amount of people. We have 10 users, I think 11 now. I got another one this morning. And I have a show on Clubhouse, which is a new audio platform that's become very popular. And it was a criminal justice breakout show. I'm starting another one that's called Breaking Bread. These are all ways that I attract new members to my Instagram site, and I steer them using a system of funnels to drive them into my newsletter. And from my newsletter, I drive people onto my site. I have to curate each person. So in the beginning, we're not just having everyone flood. I'm checking who they are, making sure they're legitimate entrepreneurs. It's invite only, and they have to contact me first. And so we start that way. And then to get it's a two-sided marketplace. So to get my users, I'm targeting entrepreneurs. And that sounds, okay, sure, everybody's targeting entrepreneurs, but co-work spaces. There are many co-work spaces right now. I'm not going to say their names, but big ones where people work together. And, and the idea is that they have social impact missions. My job is to get on the road, knock on these doors. There's one of them has over 900 offices. I'll start here in the DC area. I'll just name, 1776, we work, and I'll have my laptop in hand and I'll build a street team. So first I'll do it for a few months, and then I'll build a street team of interns and volunteers. And we will go out knocking on doors and say, hey, look, you're already using Fiverr. I know you're a resourceful entrepreneur. Take a look at our talented and enterprising network of proven entrepreneurs. And that's how I'm starting off.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Pascal?
Alisa, can I ask him a question?
Sure.
Pascal, congratulations also to you. You explained very well your idea, and it sounds feasible. When would you think, with your progression, that you will be able to reach a reasonable number of platforms or individuals that would want to be within your platform to be employed? Meaning you would require a large number of individuals for your platform to be able to succeed. And how would you target those individuals? By through connections, through contacts, through the associations?
Thank you, Mr. Guillermo Pla. Mr. Pla?
Yeah,
that's a great question. At scale, so initially, I need to target about 1,400 people to hit that 100,000 I talked about in my first 12 months, just from the platform transactions and the fees that we would earn, which is about 15%. I need to get to 1,400 active users, and they need to be having an MRR, or monthly recurring revenue, of $60. And at 12 months, that gets me over $1 million and 8,000, I believe. And but we're not stopping there. I have at my current internship, one of my mentors on the advisory team has a database of over 40,000 active users using his platform. Also, a few days ago, I was contacted by someone who wanted to introduce me to their 125,000 network of additional users that so in the state prisons, they have access to tablets and more education than in the federal prison. So in the state prisons, this second person just offered me an opportunity to be able to display, through his magazine, it's a Returning Citizens magazine, where, I can launch and show my ideas and how to get more entrepreneurs onto the site. And so that's, but initially, to answer your question, 1,400 users, and we expect to do way more than that. We expect to have probably about 16,000, but conservatively 1,400 users will get me to $100,000. And that's just from transaction. That's before we add information products, coaching, and the subscription model, which will happen around 1,500 users.
Right.
Understood. You have a clear idea then. Thank you very much.
Hey, Patricia, any comment?
Yeah, just quickly, I have no question. Just wanted to commend you on a fantastic presentation, really clearly outlined, especially as you went into the user interface and user experience. I think that's going to help you quite a bit in this crowded and increasingly more crowded marketplace to maintain a competitive advantage. So all the best to you. Thank you, Pascal.
Thanks, Patricia.
Thank you.
Great job, Pascal. Okay. Our final presentation is from Ty Anthony Carter. He's going to tell us about his idea for Equipped.
Good afternoon to the judges and guests. My name is Ty Anthony Carter, and I have the honor of showing the value proposition of Equipped. I'm pretty sure everyone here is active in some ways. If that's just a walk in your neighborhood or a friendly game of basketball, I'm here to elevate that experience. So as you can see, those two guys planned to meet up for a game of tennis, but once they got to the park, they didn't have the balls. So that's where Equipped come in. Equipped is a boutique vending machine going in neighborhood parks, catering specifically to that location. That puts me in a unique market because no one is currently doing this. So I'm at the park selling against the status quo. Of course, we have our big corporations that we can go to, like Dick's Sporting Goods, but let's be honest and think back to that video. Dick's would have been an inconvenience because they were already at the park. Depending on the time of day, we all know DC traffic. It would have been a hassle to get there. And lastly, everyone is busy these days. So leaving the park would have cost him his free time to actually enjoy himself. Equipped will make money by purchasing items in bulk, distributing them to various machines. So an Equipped machine in the park to the left will have items such as soccer balls, tennis balls, basketballs, maybe some frisbees, jump ropes, sidewalk chalk, to cater specifically to the families that come with small children. The picture on the right shows the amount of parks in this region as opportunities for Equipped to succeed in. Equipped actually came to me because I found myself at a basketball court with friends and we didn't have a ball to play. So I've conducted interviews with a variety of people, researched multiple park systems, and found some interesting things, like Washington, D.C. is the #1 ranked city nationwide when it comes to parkland percentage and parkland per 1,000 residents. As I took that information, I went to the people. 79% of the people I interview frequently go to their neighborhood park. 62% of that same group come to do some sort of activity. 73% said that the parks would attract more people if there were better things to do. One busy dad I interviewed at my internship as he was picking up a ball said, on Saturdays, when I take my boys to the park, the fewer the stops, the better. As I stated earlier, my name is Ty Anthony Carter, and I created and came up with the concept for Equipped, but it wouldn't have been possible without my team. My advisor, Pascal Laporte, is also a Georgetown Pivot Fellow. He's a serial entrepreneur with a strong background in strategic business development. My mentor, Howard Eisenberg, is an entrepreneurial coach, an investor, and an entrepreneur with a strong background in logistics and retail distribution. My projections is to start with 5 machines. The cost to get those machines fully loaded and operational is $17,000. With that initial investment, Equip could generate $45,000 in revenue. Within 5 years and 100 machines in operation, Equip will make over $1 million. That's only possible with additional funding, but for now, I'm just proving my concept and spotlighting how much traction this company will bring to the DMV area. I am currently in talks with a senior representative from a local park service, and they are completely ecstatic to host the first Equip machine. As I come closer to making my dream a reality, I must ask for one thing. I can never have too many resources, as everyone has valuable information that I could use. With the help from you today, I plan to have my first machine in operation by summer's end. Thank you for your consideration and have a wonderful day.
Great. Thank you, Ty. We got some questions from the judges for Ty.
Ty, what a great idea, as someone who's definitely shown up without the equipment many times. Two questions. First of all, how do you decide what's going to go in each machine, or would you design these so that they take a variety of products? And because the video showed one product only. And then secondly, how do you ensure that you're going to keep the space and not get a competitor in there?
Well, thank you for your question. I'll answer the first question. Each machine will generally cater specifically to that location. So as you know, each park systems have different areas. So an Equip machine, maybe in your neighborhood park would cater to a basketball court. So some basketballs, tennis balls, as you see. But then I thought about, some small items where little kids come in. So some sidewalk chalk, Frisbees, people come to, parks with their dogs. They might want to enjoy, a day out with their dogs. So the machines will have a variety of items, and that will be thought about in full detail as the machines come into play. The second question, can you remind me?
It was, you roll these out and you're going to get Dick's Sporting Goods trying to compete with you. How do you lock in the space?
No, not Dick's Sporting Goods competing. I had the unique opportunity to intern with Dick's Sporting Goods. So if it is my possibility, Dick's Sporting Goods will be able to advertise or maybe partner up where I'm able to fill that competitive space.
Thank you.
Other questions for Ty?
Yes, I have a question. So thank you for that. What a unique idea. It's definitely happened to me where I've showed up at a park with friends or family and wished that I had a Frisbee. So it's a great idea to bring the product to the exact right location at the exact right time. A question that I have for you is, as I think about these machines, since you don't have competitors, nobody's been building machines like this, you need machines that are essentially tailored to be able to handle this type of product. And you are going to need to be able to have those machines monitored and refilled on a regular basis. So I wanted to ask you to talk about two aspects of that. One is, what's the impact on your expenses? The manufacturing cost and the monitoring and refilling cost. And then the second part of that question is, let's just stick with that. It's really the logistics, but let's just stick with the expense part of the question.
Okay, if I'm able to share my screen, I broke down everything in a Excel. So
not sure you're going to be able to do that.
So
just walk us through it.
Okay. The machine I have thought about it it will have to be a more modernized machine, not like a normal vending machine. So doing my research, most vending machines, they have a leasing option where you'll be able to pay out the machine in 36 months. So that way, that cost for the machine won't really impact the revenue of the machines, of the income. And I cannot think of the first question, sorry.
Oh, it was just the impact of the cost of the machines.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're not, you can't just go to the store and buy them. They have to get manufactured for your use. And then the other part was the cost of the monitoring and refilling.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I did think about that. And with one machine, maybe one person coming in twice a week, minimum wage in DC is $15 an hour. So maybe 1 hour to fill the machines and monitor. That thought has been thought about as well. So that aspect is covered in the revenue of the equipment machine.
Right. Thank you. Wayne, question from you?
Yeah, just one question. As you think about kind of building out the product across multiple parks and across multiple sports activities, have you thought about the inventory that you're going to have to purchase and how much that would cost for the initial kind of order?
Yeah, so I would buy the inventory in bulk, and I guess as each machine and each park specifically cater, and I'll see what is selling in that particular market, then that's when I will be able to, as the machines are getting filled, I'll be able to, this is not, selling frequently in this particular park, maybe take it out, maybe try something new in that location.
And just one more question, in regards to the actual, balls, et cetera, are those going to be name brand balls, or are they going to be branded equipped?
No, no, definitely name branded balls. I haven't thought about like that. I haven't thought about like equipped brand balls or equipment.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you, judges, for your questions. Virtual round of applause to all of our fellows on your pitches. Again, every year, these just get better and better, and it is incredible to sit back as a member of the team and watch all of your hard work. So at this time, our judges will be deliberating. Again, please be sure to submit your scores via the Google form. And while our judges are working on those scores so we can get our exciting news, it is my pleasure to introduce the co-executive directors of the Pivot program, Pietro Rivoli and Mark Howard.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah. So you've heard many people express their gratitude and admiration today. So now Mark and I, as executive directors, want to express ours as well. To our Pivot fellows, we tell you this all the time, but it's such an honor to do this work with you. You're our inspiration. You make this program what it is, and you make Georgetown University so proud. I mean, these were 6 incredible business pitches today. So, behind these incredible pitches and these great presentations, Mark and I are also honored, to work with an incredible team. Okay? And these are the members of our Georgetown community who working alongside the Pivot Fellows made today possible. So I just want to take a moment to thank the Pivot team, Aaliyah Graves-Brown, Benita Raval, Ashley Spinuggle, Ralph Green, Alyssa Lovegrove, Josh Miller, Evelyn Rupert. Every day this team is on the ground, working on this program. And it is definitely an all-star team. So thank you to the fellows. Thank you to our team. Mark?
Yes, Pietra, I want to echo your thanks because we do have an incredible team and they've worked so hard to make this program possible, particularly in this very difficult year that we've just had. But I think we're seeing it all come to fruition and we're so proud and so grateful. I also want to acknowledge some other partners, and in particular, those at the DC government who helped to make this program possible from the get-go and help to support and sustain it every year. Because this program really is a model in terms of how local government and universities can work together, yet rarely do. But I'm hearing from more and more universities, they want to know, what is our secret? How do we make something like the Pivot program work and how does it succeed? And I really want to give special thanks to the Department of Employment Services because they've been there with us from day one. They've been steadfast in their support of our fellows. And that comes from the very top in the form of Director Unique Morris Hughes and also Deputy Director Charles Jones, because they're true pioneers as government leaders, and they are genuinely committed to the well-being and success of DC's returning citizens. So Pietra, here we are about to graduate our third class of Pivot Fellows. I don't know about you, but for me, the time has just flown by and I can't quite believe it.
So hard to believe. You know, Mark and I really never get tired of telling the story of how this program began. We met each other for the first time in February of 2018. It was in Mark's office. And somehow over the course of a conversation or two, you know, we hatched what we thought was just a really bold and important idea. You know, we decided that the McDonough School of Business and the Prison and Justice Initiative would work together to support members of our DC community that has been so excluded from business opportunities, from employment opportunities, from so many of society's resources. So we developed a plan to try to address that. You know, we wanted to support our returning citizens, to validate their aspirations, to provide them with education, to bolster their chances. And the goal is not just to help people, you know, achieve their own goals, but also to show the rest of society and the business community, you know, just how much this community of DC citizens has to contribute. So, you know, we kind of forged full speed ahead. It was amazing. We graduated our first class in 2019, our second class in March of last year, of course, with the rest of the world, had to pivot to complete their program on Zoom. And this third cohort has done their entire program online, their entire program on Zoom. Although we are super excited that next week we will have an in-person graduation. I really don't want to miss the opportunity to say that we are eternally grateful for the leadership of Dean Paul Almeida. He has been steadfast in his support of this initiative since day one. But it wasn't a physical year. Right, Mark?
Yeah, he has, yes, and thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dean Almeida. As we've said, this year presented us with new challenges that we never could have expected, of course. We had to adapt this program to a virtual format without ever getting to interact with our fellows in person the way we normally would be from day one. And we were very nervous about it. And I'll admit, I was probably the most nervous of all. And I do want to publicly acknowledge Alyssa Lovegrove, who pushed us to push ahead and who convinced us and a skeptical me that this would be possible and that it would be worthwhile. And it was worthwhile and it did succeed. And I'm really glad that we did. The whole world moved ahead to life on Zoom. But as you know, for people who are incarcerated and who were recently released from incarceration, it's a huge technological challenge to navigate these new technologies. And I was worried that it might not work, but it has worked. And I really want to applaud our fellows for rising to the occasion, for embracing the challenge, not just of our program, but of the technology.
Well, our Pivot Fellows, they didn't just master the technology and survive. As we can see today, they thrived. And it's been very interesting to watch our community develop online. At this point in the Pivot program, our fellows are at their internships 4 days a week. And they pretty much don't see each other for those 4 days. But we all get back together on Fridays on Zoom. And I wish everybody at this meeting today could pop on a Zoom screen on Friday with us, because it's almost like every week on Friday we have a happy reunion. Everybody's so happy to see one another. This is a group that supports one another in so many ways. So those Friday reunions are really great. There's another way that the third year of the Pivot program is special, though, and this one is a little bit bittersweet. Okay? You have met a remarkable young Georgetown alum this afternoon, and that's our program manager, Aaliyah Graves Brown. Aaliyah has been with the Pivot program from day one, and she rose this year to the challenge of serving as the manager of the program. Aaliyah, you have invested your head and your heart in this work in a way that's an inspiration to all of us. Okay. Aaliyah has done everything from pulling this event together today to helping load boxes when one of our Pivot Fellows faced a housing emergency. We are never going to be able to fill Aaliyah's shoes, but we are so thrilled and proud to announce that this fall she will enroll at Harvard Law School.
Yes, we are very proud. And I'm as proud as anyone, since I've known Aaliyah kind of in a way since she was a baby. In intellectual terms, she was a Georgetown student who rolled into my prisons and punishment class in the fall of 2015. Searching for her passion, and I think in that classroom she found it, and I certainly saw it in her. She was just a kid back then. She was always walking around with her Georgetown field hockey gear on just about every surface. And she struck me from day one as somebody who was incredibly sincere, passionate, caring, and responsible. At the time, PJI, Prisons and Justice Initiative, was just me and a few undergraduate research assistants. And I was thrilled to bring Aaliyah on board in that capacity as a research assistant. And she served there until she graduated in 2017. And then the Prisons and Justice Initiative was starting to grow. We finally had enough resources to hire our first full-time team member. Josh Miller will remember this time too. And Aaliyah made for a very easy choice for us. And since then, we have seen her grow up, flourish, and thrive, including this year, of course, when she stepped up to take on these major responsibilities for the Pivot program. It would take far too long to list everything that Aaliyah has done for PJI and our many programs, but let me just say that Aaliyah has been our backbone. It's not going to be easy to survive her departure. I've been in mourning for the past few months, but of course, I'm thrilled for her that she's going to be taking her talents to Massachusetts. And I know that her heart will always stay with the Pivot program, with PJI, and with Georgetown.
So I think, these virtual toasts are kind of tricky, but I think we would like everyone to raise a virtual toast to Aaliyah. She's going to remain an inspiration to us for years to come. Thank you, Aaliyah, for everything. Okay.
Thank you, Aaliyah. And congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for attending today's pitch competition. My name is Ralph Green, Program Associate for the Pivot Program. I also graduated from the first cohort in 2019 and was a winner of the first pitch competition. So I have a unique experience with the Pivot Program as fellow and a staff member. When I was told about an entrepreneurship program at Georgetown and that I should apply, it looked like everything that I wanted to know about a business. I was working at the restaurant Sweet Green, which was founded by Georgetown alumni. The Georgetown connection felt like a positive forward transit, and I look forward to the challenge. Looking back, leaving a great work experience at Sweet Green to join the Georgetown Pivot Program is one of the best decisions I've made. For the past 3 years, I've been a part of a culture of excellence. I witnessed and experienced 3 pitch competitions, and each year the fellows deliver and supersede already high expectations. The fellows trusted the process by welcoming the experience and expertise of Professor Lovegrove and used the curriculum provided by the Georgetown faculty to take ideas and construct them into profitable business models. Much of this occurred by outlining who the customer is and what the product or service would be beneficial for a need or want. The mentors, coaches, and guest speakers supported the challenge and challenged concepts to get them ready for this day. Since this is a pitch competition, the fellows showed their competitiveness and great sportsmanship. They have worked diligently in their presentations while championing each other and making it across the finish line. I think the camaraderie is very clear to the audience with the excellent ventures presented today. I have learned so much from this cohort, and they have learned from one another. I also watched faculty learn as they teach. The Pivot Program is an extraordinary opportunity for myself and others like me to learn about the invisible hand, market segmentation, and what a logical fallacy is. And I want to thank everyone who participated in making this vision come to fruition. You will now hear back from Pietro and Mark.
Thank you, Ralph. So the Pivot Program, of course, would not be possible without our partnerships. And we've already mentioned the wonderful relationship that we have with the DC government. We also have partnerships across the university. We have faculty, staff, leadership, and especially students, and many of them are here with us today. And they show what's possible when an organization is also a community. And that's what we try to create here with the Pivot Program. We want to especially thank our amazing administrative team at the McDonough School of Business and Finance, Communications, Events, and all of the students and faculty who contribute. With special thanks to students Amy Lee, Jack Pedego, Rich Williamson, for truly being a part of this team. And of course, we also want to thank all of our business coaches.
Thanks, Mark. Now, of course, our philanthropic partners are truly making this work possible. And I've been an MSB faculty member for decades, and I can't tell you how humbling it is to see so many of my former students and so many MSB alums support us in the work we're doing. There's another special thanks we owe to the School of Continuing Studies. They actually provided a home for us downtown when we were first launching. Okay. In many ways, though, our most valuable partners are the employers and the internship hosts who work with us to create opportunities for returning citizens in DC. These organizations, these businesses and nonprofits are true change makers. We could not survive unless we had these partners who were creating employment opportunities, providing mentorship, providing internship opportunities. They are the ones really giving returning citizens a chance to change the future for themselves and their families. And changing the narrative about what returning citizens can accomplish is a very important part of our work that's led especially by our own Alyssa Lovegrove. Okay. So this year, we are going to begin a new tradition by honoring one of our partners with the Pivot Partner of the Year Award. We are very, very happy to award the 2021 Pivot Partner of the Year Award to a local DC firm, Link Strategic Partners. They are a national provider of communications services and stakeholder engagement, and they're headquartered here in DC. For each of the past 2 years, Link Strategic Partners has provided invaluable professional experience to our Pivot Fellows. Our Pivot Fellows have been welcomed onto the Link team. They've been given real responsibilities, they've been given mentorship, and they've been given room and guidance to develop and grow. In the process, our Pivot Fellows have not just learned about this industry, communication, and media strategies, they've also learned about management and leadership. So to us, Link really serves as a role model for what it means today to be an inclusive employer. Link also provided valuable consulting and advice for the Pivot program itself. So it's my honor to present the 2021 Pivot Partner of the Year Award to Link Strategic Partners and its president, Michael Aiken. And now we have a quick video with some comments from our intern and employment partners.
Pivot is a collection of really incredible human beings that add value to our team.
We quickly learn not to underestimate the intellect, the capabilities, and the potential of the Pivot Fellows.
One of the great things about working with the Pivot program is having the opportunity to be able to have access to incredibly brilliant talent.
These folks bring things to the table that your average everyday person just can't.
We inherently recognize the value, human capital that exists within prisons, and the Pivot program is a great example of what individuals can do once they come home.
Having that opportunity to be able to really leverage the brilliance that was sitting dormant inside of a prison cell has been transformative for our company.
Pivot has provided another unique set of experiences that people can bring to their work and make us better as a social impact firm because of that.
The perspective that is gained from having someone with lived experience in the criminal justice system in our particular line of work is essential, and is something that we've leaned on very heavily and are extremely happy to have had.
It's so important to listen to and center those who have direct experience with the criminal legal system.
We want to help anyone that needs a boost in their career and wants to continue to sharpen themselves on different skills, and we want to learn from them.
There's a massive upside to hiring people that are returning back to our communities from incarceration.
There is a business case for hiring returning citizens, and there's a business case for why not doing that is a really bad thing as well.
Organizations should embrace the opportunity to help remove some of those barriers and offer second chances to returning citizens.
We want to both equip folks and show that it can work, and that incarceration has no bearing on employability.
This was our first engagement focused on second chance hiring, and we realized the power associated with this.
We think it's just really important that we understand what's going on in the local community, and we believe that we have an opportunity to make a positive impact. That's what we try to do.
It's also an opportunity to expose those within organizations to an actual person who has the lived experience of being incarcerated.
It's been an incredible experience for us, and I'm sure it'll be the same for the employers of the tomorrows.
So I think, are we ready? Are we turning it over to Alyssa, Aaliyah?
Yes.
Yes. We are ready. We got slides ready too.
We
Okay.
should have our slides ready here.
Okay.
So we'll give our lovely slide host here a minute to
get organized.
Get organized here. So we have our scores in. Again, I just want to start by first thanking Mark and Pietra for those kind words, and everyone who shared kind words in the chat. You all are incredible, and I'm so grateful to have spent all of this time doing this work. So I appreciate that. But now to the much more important, much more exciting part here. I'm going to start by announcing our honorable mentions here. Again, congratulations to everyone who has presented today. I am excited to announce our 3 honorable mention folks here today. Move to
Leah,
our
yeah, okay.
next slide here. So congratulations to Charles Hopkins with Forgotten Voices, Ernest Boykin for Surface, and Ty Anthony Carter for Equipped. Congratulations to each of you for all of the hard work that you have put in. We are so, so proud of you and all that it took to get to this moment. Congratulations.
And thank you, judges, for being so generous with the prize money so that the honorable mention winners do also get a financial reward. And now, the big suspense, I'm going to announce the second runner-up. Our second runner-up is Camelia Finley, Fresh Start. Congratulations, Camelia.
And now I'll introduce the second runner-up. It's Pascal Laporte with 10 Pen. Well done, Pascal. Chandra, let me introduce Chandra Adams, who will present the winner.
I would love to present the winner, except I don't have the information just yet.
But it's on the screen.
So let me just go ahead and announce the first place winner. The first place winner is Latasha Moore and Victoria Hunt with Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing. Congratulations, ladies. Well done. And now to Aaliyah.
Wonderful. Another virtual round of applause to all of our winners, all of our participants. Again, you all did an incredible job today, and we are all so, so proud of you and grateful to get to celebrate this milestone with you. And it is my pleasure to pass it back to our Dean, Paul Almeida, for a few closing remarks.
So congratulations to Latasha and Victoria for Next Endeavor Diversity Staffing. I definitely pricked up my ears when I heard what you were thinking of, because I know this is an area of huge need. So thank you for the great idea and for answering the questions so well, and on winning today's pitch competition as well. And congratulations and thank you to all our Pivot Fellows for your excellent presentations. You could see the thought, but also the passion you put into it. So thank you so much. And to our faculty, our staff, our judges, our board members, you renew my belief that business has incredible power to be a force for good, to change lives of individuals and communities. And thank you so much. So each of the businesses presented today, the one common theme was they'll all make the world a better place. And they also reminded me that the incredible resources that our returning citizens are and have to offer our communities. And this is a wonderful combination of both heart, you were all determined to do something that would make a difference, to create the community, but I could see the business training as well. You were talking about customers and markets and opportunities and competition and finances. And this is great, the wonderful combination. This is very Georgetown. This is very Georgetown McDonough. So you make me extremely proud. And I'm so glad you're a part of us, class of 2021. So thank you all for all you've done and all you've accomplished. I hope your careers will continue to be successful and grow. We're lucky to be a part of you. Thank you for being a part of us as well. And I'm really lucky to hear from Pietra that you'll actually graduate in person, long overdue, where you could get together and celebrate and make the most of this experience. So I hope everyone will tune in to the live stream on June 30th at 11 a.m. to celebrate this wonderful occasion of our fellows from both cohort 2 and cohort 3 as they graduate. So congratulations again. Thank you all. I'm proud to belong to this community. Thank you.